welcome to our Mind, Body, and Money podcast, Real MBM. Hey, my name is Jennifer Franklin, and I am your host today. And I am joined by Sean Blunt with Century 21 Nachman in the Chesapeake office. How are you doing today, Sean?
I'm doing great. Happy to be alive. How are you doing?
I'm happy to be alive too. That's a good answer. So, hey, today we are going to talk to you about the mental barriers of home ownership. Are you excited to do this today?
I think it's a wonderful topic to start it off, and because a lot of times when we're coming across home buyers or prospective home buyers, they have just this fear of the unknown
That's right.
or the uncertainty
Mm-hmm.
more so. And it's great that we have in this topic because we're going to be able to unveil some of those things and hopefully get some people off the fence.
That's true. And I heard someone say the other day, I'm in control of my thinking, I'm going to push through this barrier myself and da-da. And I want to tell you guys that, yes, we oftentimes think that we are in control of our mindset and our thinking, and that's great to assume that. But if we're honest with ourselves, I do think that the environment does prime that thinking. Do you agree?
I agree.
We hear so much about the high interest rates, the lack of inventory, all the changes that are going on with Freddie and Fannie. If you don't know who that is, those are pseudo-government agencies that really help guide our mortgage guidelines and that type of thing. And so we hear all of this bad news about the market, everything that's negative right now. And so you might just assume, right now is just not the right time for me to buy. What do you say when you come across those people, Sean?
Well, actually, let's talk about some of those market conditions. And I know a lot of times when people are possibly considering purchasing a home, they may be getting information from social media, or they're looking on the different sites online. But let's stay focused to our current region, here in the Hampton Roads area. And I was reading a most recent press release from John McAkron with at Coastal Realty. He had a really good take on where we're at in the market right now. And buyers in the Hampton Roads region continue to show a desire and a willingness to purchase homes regardless of the current mortgage rates. And I think that is a wonderful take because as I'm hosting open houses, there's still a lot of people that are actually coming out that are ready, willing, and able to buy. And it's about finding the right home at the right value and the location that they desire for their family. And that's what it really comes down to. So I don't want people to be discouraged because it is the right time to purchase a home, especially if you desire to do so. And I encourage everyone to have that conversation with mortgage professionals, with real estate professionals like myself and Jennifer, to start that conversation and to ultimately purchase a home.
Yeah, I agree. So, let's really go through some of those mental barriers that home buyers face. A lot of those people that come to our home buying classes, right? Because we both teach home buying classes, and a lot of those people just really don't even know where to start. Would you agree?
I agree.
And so that's why these home buyer classes, and there are plentiful. So if you go to a website like virginiahousing.com, that will really help you find some available classes. But we teach some of those classes, and what we come across are people that just don't, again, know where to start. They also think, I don't have a down payment. My credit's not where it should be. And those are some real mental barriers to even exploring home ownership. But the fact is that you have to start that exploration process because, hey, if you're hungry from home ownership, I love this analogy. If you're hungry, just in general, and you're sitting on the couch and you're like, I'm kind of comfortable on this couch. I don't really want to get up and do what I need to do to help my hunger. But at some point, you get the urge and you have to do what? You have to take action. That means you get up off the couch, you go to the kitchen, you fix yourself something to eat, and you satiate that hunger. So it's the same way. If you have a desire, an urge to be a homeowner, then you got to take action. And the first step is talking to people. So let's just talk about some of the questions that we run into in some of these homebuyer classes. One of the things that they do in the classes is they talk about the pros and cons of home ownership. But let's really start with the pros and cons of renting because, quite frankly, I think that not every single person that wants to be a home buyer is ready to be a home buyer. Would you agree, Sean?
I agree, and we can start on that as far as some of those pros and cons. I think a lot of times with the pros, some people may see that the level of flexibility that they may have, and if they happen to be often traveling for work or just not home as often, maybe it'd be more convenient for them to rent for that level of flexibility. Another thing is also the no maintenance up front. So those costs that they will be accruing from owning a home, from getting said contractors out to assess work on their home, they wouldn't have to do so if they have a maintenance department or a landlord who'll be willing to have someone come take a look at that. And then another thing is definitely those some of those amenities. Sometimes you have these wonderful these apartment complexes or condominium associations where they have all these amenities, the pool, the playground, and all these other things that people do love. So those are some of the pros to renting. And then touching on some of those cons, you have the limited control. Sometimes they may have regulations on what you can and cannot do in the front yard, or limited parking, or landscaping, things that you cannot really control that is contractually agreed upon. And then also you can't control some of those rent increases, which often happens as we're seeing, which can fluctuate in how much you could be saving on a monthly basis or a yearly basis over time. And then also not really having any tax benefits to owning or to renting at that moment. So I think those are some of the pros and cons.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that list, keep in mind when you're paying rent, you are really paying someone else's mortgage off, right? You're only building equity and benefit to that person. It's not like you're throwing that money away, but it really means that you're not really building and investing for yourself. And also, if you're a homeowner, or I mean, if you're someone who's renting and you are a pet lover, and you're going to be limited to how many pets you have in most places. And if you are in one of those unique places that allow for multiple pets, you're going to be paying heavily and dearly for that right to have your own pets. So, being a homeowner does provide that flexibility and the ability to do what you want to in your own house. So let's talk about that, some of the advantages of homeownership, but we'll start with the cons first because there are probably fewer cons for us to discuss. And again, like Sean was talking about, one of the cons is that you're less mobile. So if you're in a position like he's talking about, where you travel a lot, or you have a specific plan for education or different things like that, and being kind of concretely set into your own house is a problem, home ownership might not be right for you. And I'm only going to put this on a half list because, one of the things that Sean talked about as well is that the fact the landlord oftentimes, hopefully, will do all the repairs that you ask them to do. And in home ownership situations, you are now going to have to put that money aside to do your own repairs, right, Sean?
That's right. That's right. That's right. And then also another thing to piggyback off of, and as far as some of those cons, you have, the maintenance responsibilities, right? So some of those responsibilities where you have to have someone come out and assess the work, those can be somewhat costly. But then again, there's always solutions to each problem that you're facing. So in situations like this, you can have a home warranty negotiated, within the contract, and that way some of these costs can be offset as you are looking at some of those additional repairs that may come up as well. What you think, Jennifer?
I think that's a great idea, Sean. There's always great ways to do that. And, also, again, with the pros, the positive aspects of home ownership, you're building equity. As with every single payment, you build even more equity because you decrease your principal balance. You more than likely are going to have a set interest rates. Now, one thing that I do want everybody to understand that in a mortgage payment, it is comprised of five different parts: your principal and interest, which are part of your mortgage, your taxes, insurance, and then potentially private mortgage insurance if you don't have PMI and you're not a veteran. Those are certainly things we're going to go in more depth in any kind of homeownership class or call. But the nice thing is that you're building equity through paying down your principal balance. And guess what? What does the equity mean? Well, in some situations, it's just kind of air money, that monopoly money, until you actually do something with it. It's just money that you can look at, saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm building equity. My house value is this, and my balance is this." That's the equity. So with that, until you do something with it, like sell your house and pull all that equity out, or do a home equity line, or use the equity through financing, and pay off bills, or use it to do repairs or renovations on your house. But it just provides more options, and options are always a good thing.
That's right. And then I guess probably one of my favorite points of home ownership is you have control over the property. And there's a unanimous quote that I like to to go towards whenever encouraging people to actually get off the fence to purchase a home is this: owning your home is one of the best feelings ever. It can't be described in words, it can't be described in money. Homeownership is a feeling that makes life's daily grind worth facing. It reassures you that after all the ups and downs, you have a place to go, a place that'll never judge you, and always invite you with open arms. What
Oh
do you
my
think about
gosh.
that, Jennifer?
Holy smokes, that's a good quote. I love that quote. And, actually, that just feeds into one of the answers that a participant in a home buying class provided, because we always ask them, what does home ownership mean to you? And I think the best answer after over 20 years of teaching classes was that home ownership meant legacy to that family. No one else in their whole family had ever been a homeowner. And for them, it meant they started a legacy for their family and their children and their descendants. And wow, that was a powerful statement by that family. I had to pause for a second because I was like, oh my gosh, that is the best answer I have ever heard. And it was meaningful. Some people go into homeownership because they want to create equity, they want to build wealth, they want to just stop paying rent and throwing their money away. But to this family, it was meaningful in the sense that they were going to be the first ones to create that legacy. And that, I have to tell you, it was meaningful to me to hear that. It was meaningful to me to help families in that situation and be part of that journey.
That's wonderful, Jennifer. And we have situations where we keep. I have to always remind myself that what we're doing is providing a service, and not only
Oh,
that,
yeah.
it's helping
Mm-hmm.
millions of people to put them in a position where they can put their future family, in a great position. So I mean, home ownership is wonderful. I recommend it for anyone who can, and most people can. It's about just getting in front of the right people to educate you about how to move forward. And that's where people like myself and Jennifer can definitely help guide and navigate you through the process and set the expectations and be the emotional support staff that you need in order to get forward. So keep in mind, you're not alone. You have a lot of support. It's about just taking the step forward, step by step, and you'll be able to achieve your goal.
That's true. So let's really kind of go over some of the mental barriers that future home buyers are facing right now and that we hear in these classes. So, the credit, I've got to tell you, in 23 years of being in this business, mortgage business, I have never seen not one credit report that has ever been the same. Isn't that funny? You
Yes.
think that people will be very similar. Not one credit report has ever been the same as somebody else's. And I totally get the concern about credit challenges. But just like Sean alluded to earlier, you don't know what you don't know. So you think that you've got this hellacious situation that can't ever be fixed? Hey guys, I'm here to tell you I have worked with tens of thousands of home buyers that have been in situations where they have not felt like they could ever be a home buyer. We work through their credit, and it really comes to one word: willingness. Willingness to do the things that it takes to attain your goal. Would you agree that probably it is mindset and willingness that are two of the things that hey, by the way, Sean is an incredible athlete, by the way. And so I talk to Sean all the time, and it's so funny when I first met him, I was teaching a class. I'm like, Sean, drop and do 10 push-ups. He's like, no problem. I got this, no problem. So Sean, just in terms of your success in athletics, in your business, what are some things that really help you break through some mental barriers?
It starts with the mindset and the willingness, like you did allude to. And those are the starting points. But more importantly, taking it step by step. Don't overload yourself with the mental aspect of it. Just take one day at a time. Have it in your mindset that you're gonna get better today. You're gonna take one effort today because as you continue to add those days up, before you know it, you'll be in a position where you're getting ready to be at the closing table. And it's just
Love it.
those two things there. And then more importantly, just understanding that you have a team. You're never in it by yourself. You have a lot of people who want to see you succeed and ultimately achieve your goal. So have those things in your mindset. It takes a team in order to achieve your goal, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, just like An athlete has a coach who helps guide them. Your team is there to guide you throughout the whole process. That's absolutely true. And so I would just say that if you have concerns about your credit and where you stand right now, the first step is taking action. Get off the couch, get into the kitchen, and start feeding your mind with important, valuable information that you need as an individual, because every person is completely different, to be able to take those first steps. I always tell people that face credit challenges, in their mind, they're like, I'm just going to avoid. I'm going to avoid the phone call. I'm going to avoid facing the reality of the situation. Avoidance means you just go deeper and deeper into that credit hole. So, just like a smoker has to have a day one where they decide they're not going to do it any longer, they're not going to take that puff. For you all that want to overcome some credit challenges, please know there has to be a day one. Day one is educating yourself. For AA, for people that go to AA, it's that day one where they get that chip where they're like, I attended class, I attended this meeting. There's always that day one. So start day one by reaching out. The first thing to do is you can go to annualcreditreport.com and get a free copy. That is your right as a consumer of your credit report. Go to freecreditreport.com, find out what is showing, and with that report, start talking to somebody. I would be more than happy to help you. There are a ton of housing agencies out there that would be happy to help you, but you need to know where to start. And then from there, we can give you lots of great advice on how to save for down payment, how to find maybe down payment options through grants. Lots of options out there to be able to get that path started, your homeownership journey started, and just begin your first steps.
That's right. And I do want to add one last thing, and that's also to take that initial step within the process. Head over to virginiahousing.com. They have a lot of first-time homebuyer classes that are 100% free, and just take that day to be educated. Me, myself, and also Jennifer do instruct those classes and do a wonderful job at doing so. So I encourage you all to do so. Take one Saturday off if you're working, just to get educated, to put yourself in position to purchase a home.
Absolutely. Again, I wish I had all the testimonials sitting right here in front of me, because the fact is that if you are willing to take action, you've got willing in your heart to do what it takes, in your mind to do what it takes to overcome those barriers. I promise you, you can be a homeowner and create that legacy for yourself and your family. And I just want to ask, is there anything else that you want to just let the audience know, Sean? Is there anything else that, just some nuggets that you feel like have to be said?
Homeownership is simple, but not easy. So like I said, I encourage everyone to just take the initial step. Take this step, and then before you know it, you'll be in a position where you're putting your family in a new position, and you're going to thank yourself for years to come.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Sean, how do people get a hold of you so they can ask you some of these questions?
So you can reach me at Sean Blunt Jr. on Facebook, or you can reach me directly by phone, 757-348-8434, and I'll be available.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for your insight. I'm Jennifer Franklin, again, your host, and I will be bringing lots of different segments to you, and I am excited to do that because we do want to cover anything regarding mindset, body, through yoga concepts, through different things that you might not have explored before, and of course, money and business concepts. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. You can reach me at Jennifer Franklin, 757-717-6789, or at realmindbodyandmoney@gmail.com. I hope that you reach out to us. More importantly, give us feedback, and we hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.